The Respect Awards is always a really exciting night. 10 years ago at the Respect Awards, our then board chair, Christy Hardwick, met her now wife, Jane Harper. So for those of you who are single, this could be your lucky night. I want to thank you all for being here tonight to support GLSEN and for being part of the GLSEN family. As I was reflecting on the fact that we are celebrating our 25th anniversary, I was trying to think of how do you help people understand 25 years? And then a few weeks ago, my brother texted me a picture, and I wonder if we could get that picture up. This is one of the trailers I lived in as a child in Louisville, North Carolina, the small and frankly intolerant town in which I grew up in the 1970s. What's interesting about the picture to me, though, is not the trailer, it's the trees. I planted those trees with my mother 40 years ago. And they were little twigs about this big. And I thought, now look at them. And it reminded me of a phrase we often use at the Arcus Foundation, where I serve as the executive director. And let me pause and say how incredibly proud everyone at Arcus is that our founder and president, John Stryker, is one of the honorees tonight. And that phrase goes like this: when's the best time to plant a tree? 25 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. The tree that is now GLSEN was actually planted 27 years ago in Concord, Massachusetts, when I was a high school history teacher. Frustrated by seeing the LGBT students I served suffer in the way I had suffered, I decided to do an assembly talk and come out to my entire school. A couple of days later, a young girl came into my office and she said, "I'd like to start a club to fight homophobia at our school." Now, this was a totally unheard of notion, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And I said, "Well, okay, great, I'll help you. What do you want to call the club?" And she said, "I don't know. You're gay and I'm straight. Let's call it the Gay Straight Alliance." And that was the world's first Gay Straight Alliance 27 years ago in Concord, Massachusetts. So many schools started calling us that we decided there needed to be an organization, and we created the organization, now known as GLSEN, in 1990, to bring together teachers, parents, students, and concerned community members who wanted our schools to be places that taught respect, not hatred. And I have to say, when the student ambassador said tonight that only 50% of American schools had gay straight alliances, I thought back to that tiny little seedling at Concord Academy 27 years ago, and I thought how amazing it is that we have come so far. And to show you what 25 years in this movement will do to you, if we can have the next slide come up. This is me with the Concord Academy Gay Straight Alliance at the 1993 March on Washington for lesbian, gay, and bisexual. That was before we were smart enough to add transgender equality. One of those students Facebooked me last night and pointed out that he is now 42 years old. But I don't want tonight to be about the past 25 years. I want to think about the second half of that quotation. The best time to plant a tree may have been 25 years ago, but if we want to be thinking about 25 years from now, the best time to plant the seed is tonight. And what is the seed that needs to be planted tonight? I would still say that it is the same seed we sought to plant 27 years ago, the seed of respect. We have made enormous progress since GLSEN's start. Since we began the National School Climate Survey in 2001, which we do every 2 years, we have tracked the rates of bullying and homophobic name-calling that occur in American schools, and we can show you that they have demonstrably and statistically significantly declined over the last 20 years. Now, I'm in a mixed marriage. My husband's an investment banker, so I'm used to talking bottom lines. If you want a bottom line, look at GLSEN's bottom line. How many organizations can actually point and say, we can show you the numbers of how things have changed? Yet we can also show you numbers of how far things still need to change. 65% of American middle and high school students still routinely hear hateful words like faggot on their campus. That is unacceptable, that 2 in 3 kids going to school today hear hate language, and far too often no one challenges it. So while we are enormously proud of the movement that this organization has created, and the fact that we have seen statistical declines in the rates of bullying under its leadership, we can't forget that for too many kids still living in trailers in Louisville, North Carolina, it probably hasn't changed as much as we would all hope sitting here in New York City tonight. So I guess I'd like to leave you with one thought. What is the seed you're going to plant tonight? Because it is that seed that will flower in 25 years. It is that seed that will grow into the trees that will shade the future generations of young people who may be living right now in the bright sunlight of hatred and disrespect. And when people ask me what I am proudest of about GLSEN, I say it's this, that I left 7 years ago and nobody misses me. And what I mean by that was not only because the smartest thing I ever did at GLSEN was hire Eliza Beyer to be my deputy director. So, note to EDs, always replace yourself with someone better than you were. But secondly, because GLSEN is now a movement that does not depend on one person. It does not depend on any single entity. Thousands upon thousands of young people, their teachers, their parents, their allies are standing up every day in American schools to say things have to change. And they're able to do that because of the financial support you give tonight. So from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you, and I say let's continue to plant the seeds so that in 25 years, we'll be able to celebrate the fact that no child is living in the bright sunlight of hatred. Good evening.